Hello everybody, it is me, Alex the Hunted, and I can't imagine what this video would be about unless you're reading the title. Yes, it's my review of Godzilla vs. Kong. Finally! After all the waiting, we have finally got the movie, it's finally out, and I am finally able to review it. And I think it's good, but not great. I know, I'm not a true Godzilla fan, am I? But yes, Godzilla vs. Kong is the fourth movie in this monsterverse, and I would say it is a good movie. It's a very fun time, but it's not great. It's got a lot of good stuff in it, and some things that just sort of niggled me, you know. And yet again, it comes down to the human characters, and I know what you're saying, but the human characters don't matter. Well, if you're reviewing a full movie, you have to review everything about the movie, including the human characters. Human characters are important in a Godzilla movie. You have to have good human characters to keep you interested and hooked, to basically glue the movie together in between the big action monster scenes. And this movie, well, they're not as bad as like King of the Monsters or 2014 Godzilla. They're not great. I still think the best Monsterverse movie is Kong Skull Island, but this one would come second. This, I think, really suffers from the problem of it has too many characters. And I don't think any of the characters are necessarily bad, and none of them are interesting or leave an impact, in my opinion. And for some reason, the characters like Millie Bobby Brown's character from King of the Monsters, she's back again, and for some reason they've changed her into a conspiracy theorist sort of character. Like, she's hooked on the other new guy's podcast, and she keeps talking about conspiracies, and it's a very odd character change for her, because I never thought watching Godzilla King of the Monsters that this is where she would go as a character. Oh well. Then we have all the stuff involving Kong and those characters, and the "we need Kong, the world does," which actually is edited from the trailer. They don't say that. They're fine, but again, it's a case of like, it definitely feels like this movie was supposed to be longer, but it was cut down to under 2 hours. Because there definitely seems to be a lot of character stuff that was just cut, or was just completely simplified. Like the villain, one of the villain humans, Dr. Shirazawa's, I guess, son. He's called Shirazawa, but they never really bring up the relations to Dr. Shirazawa. Like, you know, they talk about him like in the trailer, and he has a few moments, but I think they kind of hype him up, but he only has about 4 lines in the movie. But yeah, it's that's always been my thing. Is like, the monster stuff in these movies are amazing, and they're really, really good stuff, and there's plenty of it. But when it gets to the humans, you're just like, oh, I don't care. Get back to it, and that's a problem. You should have to be interested in the human stuff in between the monster stuff. And this movie doesn't do that, in my opinion. But as we talk for the monster stuff, it's called Godzilla vs. Kong, and Godzilla gets top billing, but this is more of a King Kong movie, which is fine. I mean, this is only Kong's second movie, while this would be Godzilla's third. And Kong is in this movie a lot more than Godzilla is. But it's not like, it's not... Well, I wouldn't say it's a bad thing, because with Kong's screen time, they definitely do a lot with him. He gets character development for one, and it's amazing how he doesn't say a word, and he's probably the best character in the movie. Godzilla doesn't really get much characterization at all. He's mostly just shows up for the fight scenes, and yeah, there's only, I think, a couple scenes where it's just him, and the rest of his scenes are him fighting Kong or the other thing, which I think we all know, but you know what I'm not going to spoil it just in case. So yeah, it's always what I've been thinking is like, the Godzilla stuff and the Kong stuff is all great, of course it is, but I don't think it has a problem with me. Is that what the Monsterverse movies did so well before was you've got the sense of scale and size of these kaijus, and with this movie you really don't. There's some shots, especially with Kong, that make him just look really, really small, like he's just like a normal sized ape. Yeah, I don't know, it just it's not as bad. It's like it just feels like in some of the shots he's very small in comparison. But then again, that's probably just to show the sheer size of this place that they're in. Because they go into... There's a big section of this movie that takes place in the Hollow Earth, which is probably the best sequence in the movie, apart from the fights. And there's a lot of world building in it. But I don't think they spend long enough in there to really go into it all, I think. Because, yeah, there's some really, really interesting stuff in there. But again, it's just more focusing on Kong, and Godzilla doesn't do anything. Godzilla has no real part in it. Yeah, it's there's a lot of mystery and world building around the whole Hollow Earth sequences, which are some really interesting stuff, which I wish they went more into in the movie. So hopefully, if we do get some more MonsterVerse movies, it's sort of on the table. It's on the table at the moment. If they will or will not, I think it really comes down to what Toho want to do. Well, this movie's doing well box office wise, so maybe we will actually get some more stuff. Who knows? Hopefully, hopefully they don't go into it more, because yeah, there's some very interesting and some very fertile soil they can definitely make some good stories in with. Yeah, it's a good movie. I know I keep on being negative at the moment, but it's definitely a good movie. There's no bad acting, and the CGI is really, really good. The special effects are really good. The monsters, I mean, obviously Godzilla's design doesn't really change that much really at all. Kong, he definitely looks older, and he's got a beard. You can definitely see, like in Kong Skull Island, that was more of a juvenile Kong, where in this one, Kong is grown up now. And yeah, the fight, like I was going to say, with Godzilla and Kong, when these two are fighting against each other, or it has Kong doing some stuff, it's really good stuff. The fights, I know some people are complaining, saying, "Oh, they're not long enough," but I think they're just the right amount of length, because they're not so long that it ends up going from, "Oh, this is amazing," to you start getting bored with the same action scene happening over time. It's just long enough where it's really, really exciting, and it just leaves you wanting more. I think that's the best balance they got with that. It's yeah, the fight scenes, they're not too long. They're just the right amount to make you want more, which is perfect. And also a good thing, and I was worried about them doing this, is where they keep on saying, "Oh, one's going to fall, and there's definitely going to be a winner." I was worried that they were going to lie about that, because I mean, Warner Brothers have done that in the past, Batman vs Superman, and but there is a clear winner in this movie. I'm obviously not going to say who, for those who haven't watched it yet. There's a clear winner, and that's a good thing. I'm definitely glad that they have a winner. They don't just say like, "Oh, it's a draw." No, it's definitely a winner. There is definitely a winner in this one. And as for the other kaijus, well, we got the Warbats, which you see in the trailer. They have about, at max, 4 minutes of screen time, and it's just them getting their ass kicked by Kong. Interesting monster design. They look. I keep on seeing this, but they look like there was a snake type monster in the Godzilla cartoon from 1998 that looks identical to this Warbat. Which yeah, I just find it a bit of a coincidence. There's also there's lots of little like cameo kaijus, new interesting creatures. There's no Toho monsters apart from Godzilla and the other one. But there are some that look kind of like one. There's one that you could say looks like a juvenile Anguirus or Baragon, and there's a crab-like monster which I saw, of course, on bloody Screen Rant saying, "Oh, that's Destroyer." No, it's a crab. It's just a crab. It's a shellfish kind of crab monster. Bloody getting the clicks and all that crap. And also, there is so many references and Easter eggs in this one. There's lots of very clever references to the original King Kong vs Godzilla in this one. Like, there's a scene where they reference King Kong shoving a tree down Godzilla's throat. They actually managed to work in electricity, like how, in a similar way like they did in King Kong versus Godzilla, where they managed to you know, bring electricity into to make it work with Kong, which is it's a very actually it's quite a smart way that they actually do it as well. Which it's a cool reference. Yeah, there's plenty of reference to Toho movies and Toho monsters. There's no appearance of any of them, because it's a whole thing with Toho that each monster has basically a price next to them. So if they wanted to just have them in a cameo, it would have cost something. So it's a good movie. The action scenes are brilliant. I would say the first act of the movie, the first 40 minutes of this movie are very, very slow. When it's a very slow movie up to the point where we get Godzilla and Kong's first interaction. Then when they have their first fight, after that the movie really picks up in pace and it doesn't really stop. But yeah, it definitely does feel like there was a lot cut out from this movie. It definitely feels like this was supposed to be a longer movie. There's a good half an hour and even an hour of content that was cut. Like the whole thing at the start of Skull Island just being destroyed by storms. That's just a throwaway line and a kind of quick cutaway scene, which, you know, that definitely felt like that was going to be a bigger part of the movie. But no, it's just a one-line thing. So yeah, I hope there's a director's cut or there's an extended cut available made at some point, because I definitely feel like an extended cut would help this movie. At the moment, I think it's a good movie. It's not a great movie. It's mostly the human characters, which do matter, that'll let the side down, and that's really because there's too many of them and none of them are interesting enough for you to really care about them. And yeah, you know, that's what made Kong Skull Island so good, is that these human characters, they had characters, they had personalities. You know, when Kong wasn't on screen, they were pretty good characters that kept you interested. And this movie, well, it's not bad on the levels of King of the Monsters or especially 2014 Godzilla. They're definitely not great. They're not good, I don't think, but they're not bad. They're in the middle, yeah. And yeah, like I said, apart from once Godzilla and Kong have their first fight, the movie really picks up. The first 40 minutes are very slow, in my opinion. And you know, I mean, if you're going to be one of those people who skip the whole the human stuff and just get to the kaiju action, there's plenty of that to keep you interested. But the human stuff, you've got to review the movie as a whole, and the human stuff lets it down. If I was to give it a score out of 10, I would say probably 7 out of 10, but it's closer to an 8 than a 6. And I'm not saying it's a good movie. I did enjoy it. It's definitely a lot of fun. It's a fun, leave your brain at the door sort of movie. Like, you're just going to have fun if you just sit back and enjoy it. And you know, it's funny to think from the 2014 Godzilla, when they were trying to make this like, but what if this was real thing, to go to this movie where, even though they keep trying to explain the science and stuff behind it, don't bother. They're just embracing the silliness of it, and I love it. Because why do you have to go into the science and make it realistic? Just make it fun, make it good. But yeah, that's what I would say. Like, Godzilla vs. Kong, it's a good movie. It's definitely a King Kong movie. Like, Godzilla is, I think he's had a lot of stuff cut out. It definitely gets a lot less screen time than Kong does. So if you're expecting them to have, plenty of scenes between of them separately, that's not going to happen. It's definitely a Kong movie. It's more focused on Kong than it is Godzilla. But it's a fun time. I definitely would recommend it. Obviously, if you're a Godzilla fan, you've already watched it by now. But yeah, that's why I think it's a good movie. It's probably the second best in the Monsterverse. I think Kong Skull Island is the best one. But yeah, that's what I think. And let me know what you think of it in the comments below. It's a 7 out of 10 for me, but closer to an 8. I'm going to rewatch it and maybe reassess it. It's a good movie, definitely recommend it, and tell me what you thought of it in the comments below. And I'm Alex the Hunted, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.